Well, hi, and thanks for joining me in my shop. And look, the bench is empty, but not for long, because here comes the next thing we're going to check out. Look at this beauty here. Wow. Look at that guy. And I'm seeing it really for the first time, just like you. So, wow, it's got a little bit of damage, you know, but not bad, not bad. I mean, it's got its two original knobs with fake in the middle here. Ugh, doesn't sound too good. See, the cloth is in pretty good shape back here. Yeah, it's pretty nice looking. Now this is a farm radio. So this radio, you can't plug it in the wall. It needs to be run from batteries or some kind of supply, such as what I have in the shop here. It's a really cool dial. It's a Sparton, and what's it got here? It's got a big shortwave band going from 6 megahertz all the way around to 18. And it's got the AM band from 550 up to 1700. Oh, and then it's got a little one in the middle here, what's commonly called the police band. That goes from 2.5 up to 6. So it's 2.5 to 6, 6 to 18. So it's quite a complete shortwave set. And here's the tuning is wonderful. Wow, that's wonderful. Man alive. Ooh, a little bit of scraping there. I'll have to fix that. That'll scrape the paint off here. Wow, that sounds great. Well, let's look at the back of this. The front is fantastic. I love the wood on this thing. So let's see if the back is up to snuff. Ah, it's a heavy radio. Holy smokes. Yeah, we've got some pretty worn out wires here. No back on the radio, so it's been collecting dust for a while. Oh man, I got a piece of wire here that's in terrible condition. Here, come a little closer and take a look. Yeah, so this piece of wire here. Oh man, that's the power wire. There's the plug. There's the plug. Hey, wait a minute. How can this have a power wire? How does this work? This is not a farm radio. But what's all this? Tell me that's all antenna. Yeah, this is not a farm radio. Oh, that's good. Okay, that's cool. And then all of this. Well, let me separate the power cord out from this bundle of junk here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think the power cord's gonna have to be replaced. It's not looking too healthy, is it? Interestingly enough, it may not have a short circuit in it. The internal wires look like they're insulated fairly well. It's the outer covering that's just disintegrating here. Well, let's get these untangled. There we go. Not quite as bad as I expected. So there's the power cord. How's that for a real junky thing there? Oh, it's got bare copper right there. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Well, that's a cool plug. It's a Viceroy. Patented 1929. 1929. So here's a tube that says, well, of course, tubes get replaced. This one says 1931 to 48. So it says HEPC, that's a Hydroelectric Power Commission approval, 1932. So I think that gives us a much better idea of the date of this radio. It's the early 30s radio. And it has all the advancements that were worked out in the 20s. that we don't see in the radios I'm working on my live show every Tuesday night. And by the way, I've got another radio for this Tuesday night coming. Another radio, probably from the late 20s. With I think it's got 6 tubes in it. So we'll be taking a look at that on Tuesday night on my live hangout show. Okay, so luckily we can just pull this plug out and release the speaker. The output transformer is up here on the back of the speaker. So when we operate the set, we should probably do it with this speaker all the time. Needs a good dusting. Gee, should we plug it in? No, we can't plug it in with a wire like that. That looks like a sheet of... What is that down here? Is that asbestos? Down there? No, that's a piece of metal. So it has a metal plate underneath it. No asbestos. So let's try and separate out the plug here. Shouldn't be too hard to do. There we go. Feel these wires. These wires do not want to be bent. They do not want to be bent. We'll try our best to never bend these wires the whole time we have this. That's going to be tricky. That'll be tricky. And we'll pull the radio out. I'm sure it's just some bolts underneath holding it. Oh, wait a minute. Here's a sticker. Let's read this. Let's read the sticker. Operating this receiving set without having first obtained a private radio receiving license from the Ministry of Marine of Canada is liable to be prosecuted and sentenced to a penalty not exceeding $50 and costs or 3 months imprisonment. No person shall sell any radio receiving set to any person for installation or operation until the purchaser has produced for inspection of the vendor a private radio receiving license. No person shall service a radio receiving set until the owner thereof produces to such person his license to operate the set. Huh. Isn't that interesting? There's the date on there, 1932. So, Big Brother was watching. That's funny now, how Big Brother watches today. It's a little different, isn't it? Well, let's pull the chassis out. And I'm going to disconnect this bundle of wire because it's nothing more than antenna wire all bundled up. And it looks like what's happened is over the years they've extended it with more and more pieces of junky wire, resulting in this rat's nest of a wire. Whoop, 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 whoop. But it's true, you need a big antenna on these radios. They were expecting a fairly strong signal into the front end of them. So we'll just set all this aside, right there on the floor. Now, okay, big slotted screws under here. Okay, so I'll pull this out. Okay, so I have the 4 lower screws out. I'm just going to cut this power cord out because that's an example of real badness in the power cord. You just don't get any worse than that. That will take its place on the floor too. Now, I can certainly move this high enough. Yeah, I mean it's not as stiff as some, so I should be able to pull this radio out. Oh, knobs. You got the knobs on the front still. Oh, that's a heavy radio. Okay, so these knobs are in the screws. You need to be very careful. Good. So this knob has a screw and has a brass insert. It's very, very important when you see the brass insert, you can relax a little bit. If there's no metal in there, the screw is just going through plastic or wood, then tightening the screw down too much, put too much pressure on the knob, and there's a good chance it's gonna split or break. There we are. Too bad it doesn't have the original knob in the middle. But that one's not terrible. It's not terrible. There we are. Now we're ready to pull it out here. Try to get my hand on the transformer. That's where the bulk of the weight is. There we go. Out it comes. Hey, how much you want to bet this is the first time this radio's ever been out of its cabinet? Ooh, that's not a very good bet. Not a very good bet. But definitely the next stage is to vacuum everything up here, because yuck. Yeah, and it's just a metal plate. Okay, you don't see any mouse droppings. Yeah. So we're just going to vacuum this guy up. We dust them off pretty thoroughly here. Usually like to start on the top, you know, and work down. Okay, so that's removed the dust from the top of this. Let's take a look underneath it now and see what we got here. Oh boy, look at that. Okay. Well, the first thing I'm looking for is, has anybody done anything to this radio? And chances are, yes, something this old has been worked on. I can see a component right here which doesn't seem to match the vintage of the radio. Let's see, a few other things that look. Oh, these gigantic Philcos. This isn't a Philco. Sparton. Sparton of Canada, London, Ontario. Okay, well, that says Hunts. That says made in Canada. That one says made in Canada. This one says, I think it's indicating which end's the ground here. Well, we got some large size capacitors. There's one hidden way back in here too. The wiring appears to be in pretty good shape. Again, it's as stiff as can be, as is almost always the case. These cloth ones are good. There must be no rubber inside these, or the rubber that's in there has stood up. But a lot of these wires will have gone very stiff. Okay. Oh, that's loose. That's more than loose, it's not connected to anything. Okay, so this has probably been ripped free. It looks like it should have been, oh, look at that. Well, something funny about that, isn't there? I wonder what's that control? That control comes around to the front here. Let's see what it says. It doesn't say on the cabinet. That's all. It is silent on the cabinets. Well, goodness knows if that's the volume control, these aren't going to work too well on this radio. What else can we see in here? So here's the on-off. This is probably the volume, but it could be tone. Chances are, if a previous repairer did this, just cut this control away, it could be the abandonment of the tone control. I mean, there's a capacitor sitting right here. Boy, I hope we can get a schematic for this guy. I think that's what we're going to need to do. So certainly the power wire's got to be changed back to here. We got a capacitor way under here. It doesn't look too good. I got another one way in there. It doesn't look too good. This one could be a total capacitor changeout. It is from the early 30s, and there's a very good likelihood that some of these capacitors are actually useless, and others are so far off from their original values. Now, are there any that might be cracked in here? I don't see any of those black. Oh, what is that? Yeah, there's a lot of bad looking capacitors in here, and I can see what looks like non-original solder work. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot in here. But it's a beautiful looking radio, that's for sure. Oh my gosh, what are you looking at? I apologize for that. Hopefully the camera wasn't like that for very long. So I think at this point I need to get the schematic and read up on this radio and study that a little bit before going any further with it. So interesting so far. I'm real hopeful we can get this guy going. Really hopeful, because it's such a beautiful radio. It deserves to carry on in life.